I've only just remembered to take myself off mute. So, hey guys. Hey.
Hello, hello.
Right. So now we're recording for anybody who's missing it and has to work. How dare they make you work on the lunchtime live? It's just rude. So yes. So Jo is one of my oldest friends. We've known each other like literally all our life, haven't we? Because our mums were friends.
Yeah. Really young.
Which is insane. So it's really lush when you see someone's journey. Like, we travelled very similar trajectories, except Jo did marketing but down the whole corporate path. And then last year, total pivot, Jo decides to change direction completely. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I think everybody thinks it's dead glamorous, isn't it? You just set your business up, you've got all this money behind it, and it's all bollocks. It's based on lots of different things like fear, really want to do it, the worry about regretting not doing it. So we just wanted to talk about your journey today, Jo, and like what made you make that massive pivot, but equally like be real about some of the scary side that comes with that and how you dealt with it, especially with having imposter syndrome, which you've always spoken really openly about in the group.
Absolutely.
So,
so for me, it's my why was basically, and I remember I spoke to you, Cheryl, I said I wanted to be happy, and it was as simple as that. It was just, I wanted to be happy. I didn't know why I wasn't as such. There was areas of my life that I felt I wasn't happy in, but I couldn't pin it down, and I just didn't feel fulfilled. And I think it's what we've talked about a lot, is like the authenticity. So I was living not authentically. So I was, I'm a people pleaser. I'll do everything for everybody else. But yeah, I wasn't living authentically, and I was kind of like working for everybody else, and always happy for everyone else's success, which I still am, and that's great. But kind of just always putting my own sort of feelings and things on the back burner, and I don't know why.
Like, don't you think there was a man, like, until I remember asking you that question? Like, I've asked it to so many other hundreds of women probably over the last 2 years. And it's always that moment that takes your breath away a little bit, because like, as a mom, as a woman, like in my 40s, we're busy, we're running around, we're doing da-da-da-da-da. Like, when do you really stop and say, am I happy? No, am I okay? Am I, like, because we say, I'm fine, I'm okay. And I'm like, balls to that, like proper happy, like fulfilled, living on purpose, jumping out of bed for you, not for the kids. We know we love the kids and we know we love the hubbies and all that stuff, but like just having purpose for you. And I think that was the point, wasn't it, of like being in that job and just thinking like, is it for me? Am I living on purpose for me?
It was. And then, things happen, this family members get ill and life happens and you're challenged. And what I found, which was a real aha moment for me, is just something challenged me, and it really made me look at myself. And what I loved about it was that I suddenly, instead of just going with it and, and being okay, something like just flipped in a good way, but it just really made me kind of realize that I am a lot stronger, powerful and resilient that I've ever given myself credit for, and I've had to remind myself of that. But that's exactly, something just, and I think it was a culmination of things. And then what did happen was it really made me stop, I think, and give me the time to reflect.
And I think, when people say, it's not the right time. Like, I'll all of a sudden wake up one day, the kids are being dependent, they're 100 grand in the bank, like you were going through, your mum had been dealing with cancer, your dad hadn't been in great health, you'd had all kinds of challenges like on the work front, like the girls are going through like going into like bigger schools and stuff. So it wasn't like, like it's time for me now. You were like, actually, even with all of this going on, I have to make it time for me, because this is all going to keep going on, isn't it? Like,
and it was only through speaking to you and Cheryl, and giving my head the space to just think about what it is that I really wanted, but also just to like kind of, I know it sounds really deep, but it was just to kind of listen to how I've been talking to myself, how I was talking to myself, and the thoughts that I was having, the thoughts that I had, and they were mostly negative, or you know, I was shutting myself up to have any little aspirations and stuff. And I think one of the major things for me has been sort of listening now to like my thoughts more. And when I have a thought, literally like challenge it, or well, just hear it for one, and then challenge it, and then go, hang on, that's not true.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? And just choosing to have a more positive thought, which is what Cheryl always says.
Totally. And this is what, like, Lorna was messaging, put something on a post I put on last night or this morning. And it's not that people who are positive don't have negative thoughts. It's just knowing how to deal with them. A, knowing that you're having them, and B, knowing how to deal with them. So when you are in this job, you left a job that you've been in for like 6-7 years. You've always been like an employee of someone. Like, that's, you know, you've had big jobs, important jobs, but you've been paid. You've had your PAYE, haven't you? Like all that. Yeah. So when did that thought first come in of, ooh, maybe you could do this for yourself. Maybe you could earn your own money. Maybe you could set your own path.
Again, it was speaking to you guys, and it was speaking to other people, and it was just when you said to me, what would you like to do? What if you could, you know, what I want to do is I want to be able to work around the kids. I want to be able to work around my family, like my mother, so I can go and look after her and have that time. And you just sort of said, well, what if you can? What could you? And I just thought, maybe I could. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I could. You know, I mean, I'm not sat here, like, my husband works, but I'm not certainly sat here with loads of money that I can afford not to work. I can't. But I think instead of being so frightened and worrying about it all the time, and what'll happen if I fail and what if I do, it's the change in mindset that I've had, just to say, do you know what? Every day, do a bit, get on, feel good. And that for me is like being much more of the driver.
Yeah.
For me to just keep on going and explore, I think.
Yeah. So this is the thing that we do this, so don't we? So when you go back to that idea of, well, I'd like to have this freedom and be at home and, you know, see the dog and like just have more of a life than being in someone else's office all day for a lot of me waking hours, and like you said, have that flexibility, go and look after your mum if she needs it or whatever. But we kind of go, I'd like that, but this is my life, don't we? We like don't go, well, but until somebody goes to you sometimes, but if you could do that, then and you're like,
exactly.
Oh.
And I think again, without, you know, well, it was pretty deep for me, but it was sort of, I really was at a crossroads, and it was, do I continue as I am and feel as I do, or can I do something else? And for me, you know, I was definitely at my crunch point where I thought, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. That was a major thing, you know, and I really did feel that I have got nothing to lose, and feeling good about me inside is more important than anything else, you know. Than the job, do you know what I mean?
100%. And
like,
it's funny, isn't it? Because
totally
we have the thing about the money as well. We're like, I can't afford to just, you know, have this pipe dream of like have my own business. But actually, in reality, when you look at how much money you could make or have to make or need to make just to get started, even.
Yeah.
Sometimes you realise that this money that you have to have stockpiled is like a bit of a fantasy. If what you want is actually more important than your health and your happiness and your balance and your being at home and you're not being stressed out by other people's office politics and all the stuff that we all deal with when we're in offices. Like for you, that started tipping the balance, didn't it? Rather than just have to earn X amount of money a month, it was like, well, actually, what if I get all this? Like, how much is that worth? The value?
Absolutely, the value. I mean, I think through different things that I've done and I've worked on with you guys and stuff, my values are really important. Financially, you know, you know, everybody wants enough money to live and you know, do nice things.
Yeah.
But for me, it's been the inner work on me that has just been invaluable. You know what I mean? That's made a massive difference. And from that, and from working on that, that's given me like the positivity and the, you know, I've lost. I know I'm still a work in progress, but you know, I don't have as much self-doubt or as much fear. And I think on my post that I'd put about, you know, constantly thinking about what other people think. Yes.
Yeah, you were a really good mind reader.
You know, like I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But now I'm much kinder to myself, and I just stop beating myself up so much about that. And I can get at the end of the day and go, do you know what? Move on. Who cares?
Exactly. It's mad though, isn't it? Like how much weight we put on what we think other people are thinking about the plans and dreams that we actually haven't even hatched properly yet. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. Yvette was just asking as well, what was the first, I'm just going to have a quick look at these notes, challenging your thoughts. Everyone's just saying how powerful that is around challenging thoughts as well, Joe, on the notes. Feeling like that lack of fulfillment. Make sure you ask if you're happy. And Cheryl's just reconfirming, like, becoming aware of your inner dialogue. Like, Cheryl says this all the time. That awareness of your inner dialogue is so important, because at the minute we're all just walking around thinking, well, this is who I am. And it's not. It's just a belief from a thought that you've kept thinking that forms this picture of who you think you are. And it's just a thought. You said this as well, Joe. It's just a thought.
Yeah, that's the stuff that's like blown my mind. You know what I mean? It sounds quick, but it really has.
Yeah.
And when I looked at how I was thinking from the first second I woke up, I was just thinking negative things, thinking bad things, worrying about things that hadn't even happened. Or do you know what I mean? And it is exhausting. It was really tiring. And now I I wake up and I just think positive, and I'll just do grateful, like you always say, feeling grateful. Anything that lifts your spirits. You can't feel. When you start to feel grateful for what you got, you cannot feel like unhappy, or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just doing that's just made such a difference to me.
I love that. It's like I was reading the other day, and it was saying you can't, I'm always reading this spiritual stuff, and it's saying you can't expect to get what you want from a place of being focused on what you haven't got. And it's so true, isn't it? We think, I haven't got enough money, like I hate my body, I want a bigger house, and then you go, like, law of attraction will kick in, I'll get what I want. It won't, because you're on like a totally wrong vibration. You're on this negative, slumpy, funky pile of shit, like wishing by observing all the lack of the things that you haven't got, like the great body or the great relationship or the stockpile of money or the 10 holidays a year. But until you do something about making you feel good, you're never going to attract the things in your life that you really want, because your focus is on feeling crap.
Yeah. And that wasn't something I'd explored, I'd looked into, or do you know what I mean? But it's weird. And now, and I'll still say, oh, that's strange. How did that happen? That's bizarre. But then you kind of go, oh, is it? Like,
exactly. It's not, is it? It's like you gave yourself space. You started doing the work on the inner game and your inner environment, and felt feeling good. And then just, because it's like you haven't got it all fathomed out now. I mean, Cheryl haven't got it all fathomed out now, but you started taking steps. And what Yvette's asking is, like, how did you take that first step? Like, what was your first step in going from being a corporate, employee girl to being an entrepreneur, business owner, a founder?
I just used time that I had to really, like, clear my mind, work on how I felt, really thought about what I really wanted to do, what interests me. And we'll laugh. I mean, I haven't got it all sussed out now. I'm doing stuff that I'm doing, and that's great, but I have little plans now, little things that, like, excite me. And as I do different things, I'm thinking, oh, actually, I really like that. I like helping other people. I like, I'd like to maybe work with that kind of person. But really, for me, I just did a lot of reading. I looked around. I looked at, like, what help was out there. And there's some amazing sort of other supportive groups around, like what I do, like virtual assistants. And everybody was on there saying all the same things. I want to do it, but I'm afraid. Why? And I just did it. I just, set up, and, I networked. I've enjoyed, and I didn't think I would, but I've enjoyed, speaking to people. So, like, on a one-to-one, going places, chatting about my business, and it kind of made it feel real. Because at the end of the day, there's someone I follow, and she's great. And it's just, at the end of the day, all I'm doing is offering a service to somebody. If they want it, great, and I'll help them.
Yeah.
If they don't, okay, they don't.
Fabulous, exactly. Everything is perfect. But it is, isn't it? It's like this, just explore, give yourself space, give yourself room to breathe in it. Like, what do you find good? Like, what feels good to you? And when you work from what feels good, like even if you think about like your business, when you set it up, it's like, well, what do you enjoy doing? That was the first thing we said. You said, what do you enjoy doing? But what feels good? What could you do all day? Like helping people, right? Well, and what's your skill set? Well, I'm really great in marketing. So once you start then marrying that together, I'm good at processes. I'm good at like getting stuff organized, which most entrepreneurs are like really bad at. So you get to go in and use your strengths and skills and the stuff that you're good at to help people who want a business but can't do that or struggle with that side of it.
It's just like everyone's got their own skill set, and some people are really creative and are forging ahead with ideas, but behind the scenes, everyone needs that support. And what I love about it is that it's not set in stone now. And, it's strange to say that, but it's not. There's a lot more things I want to sort of, a lot more different kind of areas I want to, look at, things, people I want to work with. But it's kind of exciting, and it's just, I don't know necessarily how I'm, that'll pan out, but I'm just open to kind of giving it a shot, which is not something that I would have. No. Well, that wasn't me last year.
Even this time last year, like when you were quite new on your journey, because you didn't set your business up till, was it the summer? I was trying to.
No, it was probably sort of nearing the end of the year, probably November time.
Was it? God, that late? And like for you, but you started the year, didn't you? Like doing serious work on your imposter syndrome. So that then started like the chain of events of having the courage to, just make the decision to leave your job, and then having a bit of space to think about what you wanted. Like you haven't knee-jerked or just ping-ponged into anything. You've given yourself space and time and done the inner work and then thought about the rest.
Yeah, and that's where for me, about Joe telling you how to start your business, it's for me, it's just about like what the inner work I've done to get me to how I am now and to how I feel now, and to even like, look at to what I want to do in the future. And it's funny because like when I, the start of last year when I started working on my thoughts and all of that, this wasn't even on the cards. It was just, wasn't even there.
Yeah.
But I think through doing that, it kind of does open you up to your mind into different thoughts and possibilities.
But I love that you don't have all the answers. That's the exciting bit. Like if you knew the answers and went in 5 years, I'll be doing that. In 7 years, I'll be doing that. Like that's boring, isn't it? But like having that leap, like that faith in yourself to be able to take that leap and say, I'm just going to embark on this and I'll see where it goes. And just having that trust and faith in yourself that, as Marie Forleo says, like everything is figure outable. Like once you just get you've dealt with a lot worse in life, like dealing with illness of parents and stuff is far worse than dealing with this. So it's like,
it puts things into perspective as well. And I think I would totally mind trip and blow things out of like huge perspective, so much more and kind of all the time. And when I look back, like I'm not surprised that I was absolutely like messed, my head, because that's what I thought about all the time. And and thinking, stuff does, things change. And once you get a perspective, I mean, look at us now. Do you know what I mean? Like what is important now, is not what was important X amount of months
3 months ago. I know.
And what will be important to people going forward will not be, hopefully, what was before this.
So when you've got a woman then that's in a job that she's not loving, she's feeling okay, she's she's fine, she's getting on with it, powering through, like what's the advice that you give? Like what are the life lessons that you share from your map of the world now, from your glimpse of actually it is so much? And it's not that it's better, it's just that you are happier. Like this isn't about coming out of a corporate job, this is about following what makes you feel good. Like tomorrow we're talking about leaving corporate from a different angle as well, but it's like our mission here isn't to get everyone to leave their jobs, but it's about following what feels good for you, doesn't it? Like that whisper was always there for you of wanting to do something different and just not knowing what it was. So what's the advice? Like what's the main things, and how do you overcome the imposter?
For me, it's been about being kind to myself. So talking kindly to myself, talking to myself as I would to like a friend or family, because the way I talk to myself in my head, I would never talk, to a friend. you know. So it's kind of, yeah, it's talking kindly to myself. It's giving myself the time to not react super quickly, you know. So we all have triggers that fire us off. It's kind of building on my self-confidence, so that I know what I want to do, but be prepared to sort of give myself time to do it. It doesn't all have to be done now. I don't have all the answers, but like, I sort of celebrate the little wins every day. That's just, you know, today I've got up, put makeup on and done my hair because I'm on here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not massive for sort of having real structure and plans, and I know a lot of people struggle with that. But, you know, having a loose sort of structure that I know I can deal with, you know, having like sort of my morning routine where I talk, you know, so I speak kindly to myself. I start off with positive affirmations of I am capable, I am positive. All of those things that just literally like give me a lift in myself, sets me up for the day, so that, you know, I can then start doing the tasks I need to do. At the moment we're in lockdown, so it's totally different. I'm not everyone else. I've got 2 kids at home, husband's working, dog, crazy, you know, but doing what I can, celebrating when I, you know, things that I've got done, but at the end of the day, just like going, okay, let it go, not beating myself up, just absolutely not beating myself up anymore about all of the tiny little things. And that's been really massive for me.
I love that. That's perfect. I'm just going to read some of these comments. So yeah, Yvette was capture the tips for us, which is amazing. Build the amazing foundations. I keep jumping here. Mel's just saying as well, Jo, you're so different compared to the Jo she met last September at the retreat, because you can see all the work that you've done on yourself. And isn't that lovely that other people can, who've known you over the journey, can see the difference? Heather wants to know, when was the moment you lifted off? I've been planning and thinking about, I've been planning and thinking. So for you, was there a milestone moment that you planned for, Jo? When was the moment it lifted off?
For me, I think it's been being brave enough to communicate and speak out. Because although I mightn't look like a shy person, I kind of was. And then when you've got self-doubt and imposter syndrome on top of that. So for me, I think when I went to like my first network little meeting, I was absolutely terrified. And I was sort of stood there and chatting away to people and thinking, oh my God, they're thinking this and da-da-da. And then I could hear myself talking about what I did, and even stuff that I hadn't done, but I wanted to do, and what my plans were. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a surreal moment. And then I waited for sort of this person I was talking to like laugh at me or totally shut me down. And they were just like, oh yeah, do you have a business card? And I'm like, what? You know what I mean? And thinking, oh my God, like total, like, you know, police are going to come along. And that was just lovely. Just being honest and just getting out there and talking to the people and realizing that actually people don't really care all the ins and outs and everything else. You know, if they like you, can you provide a service for them and just get a rapport with them? And that's really what it's all about.
Absolutely. And the more you've done that, your confidence has grown, the more you're feeling confident. We say this all the time, don't we? Like, you're not going to feel 100% confident with your first client or with your first whatever, but the more you do it, and then you look back over 6 months ago, actually, I've done all these things that I was like shit scared of, but I've done them. No one sacked us. They've all paid me. And how good is it, by the way, when you get your first paycheck, like of money, like it doesn't matter what amount, and it's like you generated that money. It feels so different than any pay slip I ever got. Yeah,
it is quite surreal. And you know, I would always work so hard in jobs that I had, for someone else, and I would give it like 110%, and it's nice to kind of think I'm doing it for me. And it does feel different when you've sort of generated that. It does have a different sort of feeling and value to it.
Feels
Absolutely.
good. It feels good. And I remember like that first year, not so much Cheryl, because obviously she's the queen of optimism. But I remember like I'd be like worried in case I'd like hedge my bets a bit in case I had to go back into a corporate job. But I just remember then there was that tipping point of, I remember thinking, oh, like I could get a dog because I won't be going back. And it was like this weird in my head of like, this is it. Like you never, from where you are now, from what you want, no, now you have no view of ever making the decision to go back into corporate. And it was just a bizarre feeling like, this is it. This
And
is our
totally
life.
like empowering though, isn't it? Like I know I'd put in my post, like you do feel like really liberated. And I'm not just talking about having a business, whatever. I'm just talking about within me, just makes you feel liberated when you just cut out all the bullshit.
100%.
Just be honest and just
100%.
talk to people, because people are just people. I'm sure that's a song.
People are just people. And like when Wendy's saying about networking, giving her the heebie-jeebies, and I remember Claire, our friend Claire, giving us the tip of like, when you go to a networking event, just think like you've got a lot more skills in terms of being sociable than probably most people have there, because we're quite friendly people. So if you always think like, I'm just going to make somebody else feel comfortable, like I'm going to pretend it's like my party and I'm the host, Claire would say, and just make people feel comfortable and good. And like, that's what I always go in and just think, somebody is way more nervous than I am. So
Well, to every event that I've been to, there's always, it's strange, you're walking on your own and you kind of have a little look, and you have to just kind of go up and go, hi. And there's always someone else, and whenever I've spotted that person, it is crazy, but, man or woman, you just walk up, oh, hi, how are you? And, if they're new to it, you can kind of tell the ones that are new. But I think even the ones that are used to it, they kind of, the safety in numbers, so they'll be chatting on to people. But I've kind of literally walked up to a group and gone, hi. And yeah, you feel a bit of a plonker, but they're nice. Why wouldn't it be? That's what they're there for.
exactly.
You're there to talk and meet people.
You've done so much stuff this last year that you never thought you'd do. I blame the fire walk. We went on a fire walk, didn't we? I think that was a turning point for you. You're like, I've literally walked on fire. I can do anything.
Yeah.
That was a good day. Right, I'm just going to check for any more questions. Oh my God, you would boss a networking event. Yvette saying to Wendy, yeah, totally. Never thought how hard I work for someone else. Imagine if I give that work to myself. Exactly, Heather Pettis. If you worked as hard for yourself as you do for other people, you'd be a billionaire by now. One thing holding me back is that I'm not formally qualified. Neither am I. I have no qualifications whatsoever for coaching. There you go,
No.
Mel. No, it wasn't the Tony Robbins fire walk. Went to see a guy called Richard McCann, who was it's a long story, but basically his mum was the first victim of the Yorkshire Ripper, and he's written lots of books and stuff since. And we went to see some inspirational speakers for the day, and at the end of it, Richard McCann, it was there was a fire walk, and we did the fire walk, didn't we? We were like, we're doing it. And Mel
I can or something. Yeah,
I can. Yeah. Right. So it's been half an hour already. I can't believe it.
It's so fast, isn't it?
So fast. And tomorrow Lorna's going to be on talking about like all the lessons like you'd learn, from leaving a corporate job and setting up your business, like what you do, and from a slightly different angle. So if you want to know more about that, definitely come along tomorrow. And Lorna's also got a coaching services business as well, which is fascinating. So thank you so much, Jo. I've absolutely loved this. You rocked it. You make it look easy. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to pause the recording, guys, and then I'm going to work out how I stop streaming. So we'll cover here a few minutes. So thank you all for showing up. Thank you, guys.
Bye.